New green energy sources, cities, productions will reclaim the Earth to bloom as the most self-generative, nature-friendly, and pollution-free in the universe. Hello there, things have changed so fast. It seems like everything is upside down. The Earth has been putrefying rapidly due to degradation, global warming, and other serious issues. Humans are supposed to unite as a green superforce to reclaim their only habitable home world, which is probably one of the most splendid and organically lush in the cosmos. Even the Earth-like worlds orbiting habitable zones look very arid and not actually habitable compared to Earth. This is a very special planet, thriving with life at every acre. Humans are the most intelligent, also most destructive species in this realm. Humans better jettison all of their destructive habits and industries to recover the planet before it's too late. In the future, water can be extremely scarce in every nation as a consequence of climate change and other environmental problems. You wouldn't want to live in a world filled with vast oceans but no potable water reservoirs. It may be sooner than anticipated, a lot of calamities have stricken the populace earlier than expected. Disaster threats are magnifying every year, there was more natural disaster per capita than in the past. This is what happened to many ancient empires in history, they were basically detrimental to their environment. There is a call to embrace green energy and production in every place and city around the world. That way, climate and the environment can be balanced out once again as before the industrial revolutions. There was some caprice, but not at this scale prior to enormous industrial emissions and devastation. Every nation is pledging to go carbon neutral and committing to protect their ambience and clean up pollution. Sometimes, great troubles and challenges awaken the masses and veer them to the right path. The outlook of economic growth and expansion was the wrong path. It led to great ecological downfall and contamination. There is speculation that natural disasters and pestilence can be inevitable from here on out. It looks like viruses and bacteria are always mutating and evolving to propagate as more intelligent and furious. Very pernicious plagues have obliterated very large empires over the past. The only solution to all problems as environmental, climate, or societal in existence is natural and will always be nature. Nature has been evolving for millions of years, its life forms are way older than humans. Human beings may not be fully indigenous, they're possibly genetically engineered primates mixed with alien DNA. Primates remain in accord with their ecosystems, unlike Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens mostly start devouring forests and everything that exists around them except a few indigenous tribes. Perhaps, living natively would be the best thing for the planet, but modern men cannot live like that. A lot of people believe that clean, renewable energies can easily power the entire globe. That's why almost every country is trying to implement clean energy into its grid systems. Some countries are forming islands comprising wind turbines. Solar panels are generating enough energy for farm villages around the globe. Thus, clean energies are reducing poverty and providing energy for growing rural eco-communities. Eco-villages can be the next big thing, most cities are too crowded. Air pollution, unemployment, and traffic are terrible, making it impossible to reach net zero goals and regreen large cities. Net zero targets are too late to eliminate the negative effects of climate crises, so every nation has to prepare for the forthcoming. Nobody knows what's going to happen yet, there is a sense of urgency perceived by every world citizen. Climate change isn't anybody's fault, everyone was doing their jobs. Of course, there is a serious requirement to modify all businesses, cities, and energy plants to reach not just net zero but ultimate carbon negativity to remove greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere. The environment, cities, and even industrial zones have to consist of mostly plants, trees, regenerative farming, and forests, so they would sequester carbon in place of excessive emissions. The entire globe was mostly covered in divergent forests until the rising population has cut down more than half as a resource and for heating. Now, forests must be replanted back again before temperatures rise atrociously. In order to plant many new diverse ecosystems able to sequester carbon and exhale oxygen and manage climate and rainfall, existing cities can be remodeled as eco-forest capitals. Some countries are building new forest cities nearby large cities, so crowds can move to green, clean air suburbia. There is still a lot to be done to secure the future for humankind. Rising awareness and cooperation are critical to building a more sustainable civilization that's not destructive to its ecosphere. Vegetation is always the best way to turn carbon dioxide into a life-giving resource with little work. Perhaps, very large eco-forest cities can do the trick, and they can be powered by renewables that are being ratified due to pandemics. This may not be the last pandemic, either. It seems like viruses are gaining intellect through never-ending mutation. They may emerge as new intelligent organisms of the next period of evolution and progression. Crises have induced ingenuity, innovation, and consolidation in the past. Everyone is trying to find solutions to fortify their livelihood and their surrounding communities. More people are realizing that the industrial, capitalist system is broken. Only green growth can beget natural solutions to establish the most sustainable and ecological civilization. Carbon negativity must be the main goal for every nation. Some places have no contribution to global warming, and these are the most undeveloped regions. They still favor renewable energy increasingly. Some carbon-negative nations have built up some of the largest solar farms and wind fields. You don't have to be very rich or powerful to embrace renewable and green energy prospects. When you think about it, everything is energy. Human beings require more energy, food, products, and resources than any other creature. For that reason, they have to generate energy, produce food, and accumulate essential materials from nature without harming the environment and warming up the planet. The cheap fossil fuel-based economy can be outdated, and it can get adapted to the needs of the environment and embrace clean energy productions. Nature blossoms seasonally, some species produce yield every season regardless of temperatures. Vertical farming can be the most secure way of producing food if the surface loses its supply capacity. Vertical farms can be set up anywhere underground, in buildings, in any temperate zones. Hopefully, the planet won't turn into a fallout scenario. Seasons are oscillating by dint of pole shift, warming, greenhouse gases, deforestation, and weather events. Some of these can be rectified, some can't. Possibly, the Earth was the greenest, most biologically abundant planet in the universe until the magnifying industrial and technological revolutions. The next industrial revolution can be plant-based and very ecological, so it can actually absorb carbon dioxide, generate output, break down greenhouse gases and vitalize the environment. Natural solutions will always be more efficient compared to technological ones. Time is relative in the cosmos, hence there may be enough time if everyone acts now. Nobody ain't got time for that. Solar windows can produce enough energy to power entire buildings, homes, and businesses. Some buildings in urban centers consist of glass panels that can get retrofitted with solar windows to cover most of their energy needs. Anything about carbon can be highly taxed and regulated to oppose climate change and reduce emissions. More and more people will attempt to live as sustainably as possible, and this will make their lives and homes more positive. Bamboo grows extremely fast, and it can replace plastics, packaging, paper, and has so many uses. Bamboo has to be farmed and exploited for mass manufacturing of countless products so polluting and unfriendly products can be eliminated off the market. Desalination plants produce a tremendous amount of toxic waste. It's not a clean source of potable water. It's better to produce water through natural river systems purified by rich, dense vegetation. One enormous wind turbine can generate enough energy to power a small town. Massive wind towers may be common all across the world soon. Solar thermal panels are more efficient than traditional solar panels that convert only up to 20% of sunlight into electricity. Supergreens boost health, mood, and happiness, and they're good for the environment. Nobody knew the future could be the greenest in the universe. A lot of countries have planted millions of trees. Some environmental and green projects did well, some didn't. Planting millions of trees in a largely arid area may not work well. Without rainfall, trees would die out in a few months. That's why protecting and augmenting old forests, either temperate or tropical, is the best bet. New electric cars are already installed with solar panels on top. Charge stations with solar roofs will be more general than gas stations worldwide. Convenience stores will include charge stations and even hydrogen fueling pumps. Electric cars are the most beautiful technologies. Their design and engineering are improving every year. Electric transportation can bear high-tech spaceships powered by solar thermal and fusion in the future. Clean energy and transportation have no end in innovation. They will continuously innovate a more futuristic civilization every year. Maybe, humanity is becoming a Type 2 civilization gradually right after climate emergencies. Sun power could be harnessed cumulatively to energize rising renewable and green technologies that will progress as extremely advanced, probably more advanced than any alien civilizations. Farming, clean energy, and cities will merge as one super green utopia, regenerating itself consistently with no emission and impairment for the global biosphere. Pole shift is the phenomenon that may be stimulating some or most of the calamities and climate, weather-related disasters, and instability. Going carbon neutral may not solve the environmental problems and reverse climate change. Carbon neutral nations won't be able to remove trapped gases in the atmosphere that are engendering global warming. Pole shift will probably amplify the negative and disastrous events. For that reason, all nations must prepare for the coming cataclysms. Nobody knows what's going to occur yet. Things may only get worse every year. Embracing clean energy and green infrastructure that's carbon neutral is good for the environment, but it may not resolve unknown shifts and imbalance. There are some super plants that can soak up pollution in urban areas and congested roads. There is always a plant species for everything. The earth plant diversity is extremely rich and robust. New green industries can emerge from the undiscovered plants, trees, seeds, algae species, etc. There are certain plants and trees that grow faster and can absorb more carbon dioxide than all others. These species can be implanted in most congested and populated areas to cleanse the air. Some of these species also produce green resources that can be used for various productions. Recycling batteries and plastics will be the next booming business. Nobody knows how to completely recycle all the plastics which are everywhere and enlarging the ocean plastic patch and landfills. If the different types of plastics are separated and recycled properly, recycling them into new low-grade plastics shouldn't be too difficult. There will be tons of batteries to be recycled in the future as well. Most batteries only last about 20 years, the most. A tremendous amount of batteries needed to power the world with clean energies. Mining to make batteries is still better than oil and gas industries. Oil and gas may be more efficient on Mars, since it has to warm up to be more habitable. There may be very large aquifers, oil, and rare metal deposits in Mars' crust. Everyone would want a piece of metal, rock, or something from Mars, so Mars economy will be the next booming business here on Earth. Most of the lands where people live or use for business have been degrading, so regeneration of large lands is crucial for them to become natural landscapes with greater diversity. Greenhouse gases like methane can't be fully soaked in by vegetation. Carbon capture technologies must be able to break down gases into elements. Most of these elements that make up greenhouse gases are very valuable for many productions. The switch to clean energy won't probably be effective to put an end to increasing downfall. Renewable energies are the best sources of energy, but they won't solve everything. Climate change is probably irreversible already. Pole shift and other deviations will bring major havoc in the next century. Palladium and some other metals are used to scrub nitrous oxide from the gasoline exhaust. Nitrous oxide is 300 times more potent than CO2 as a greenhouse gas. 180 pounds of copper are needed for an electric car, more than 4x that of a gasoline vehicle. 1-2 ounces of platinum per vehicle is used to produce hydrogen fuel cells. More rare metals are required to deliver the green revolution. Potentially, the mining of metals can activate renewable energy, colonization, terraforming, and electric transportation on Mars. Jupiter can be lighted up as the second sun in this solar system, and its many moons can be terraformed or colonized afterward. The possibilities are endless with green energy that's barely appearing. Jupiter as a mini-sun can provide a lot of sunlight to other planets and moons. Eventually, they would flourish as habitable worlds. The habitable zone of this solar system would reposition to cover more planets and their large moons. Terraforming may be the next era of human advancement as of now. The Earth may require re-terraformation to continue its habitability and subsistence. Everything is always changing. Advanced civilizations deplete their home worlds after a while and search for basic essentials or other necessities elsewhere in space. Other planets, asteroids, and moons can be mined for their rare and unique metal deposits. New unknown metals and elements can be obtained from space mining to make potent nuclear fusion and free energy reactors a reality. Some unknown origin elements found in crashed spacecraft have been fueling nuclear spaceship reactors. This is the closest you can get to free energy, and there are probably some free energies that are highly classified. Discovering and uncovering free energies can initiate a very sustainable civilization, not detrimental to its home world. Eventually, the Earth's life-generating species, habitats, and organisms can be transferred to other planetary systems with spaceships powered by advanced nuclear reactors. A great emphasis is concentrated on terraforming, and it can be simulated here on Earth first. The Earth still has vast deserts that can be converted into prolific, lively oases. Some nations are already working on turning large deserts into lavish farmscapes. This can also halt global warming. It's a type of natural solution to deal with the environmental downturn. The innovation in clean energies will eventually conceive free energy sources unlike anything of the past. The Earth and human civilization are still sustained with photosynthesis in every aspect. Photosynthetic manufacturing and synthetic photosynthesis can generate feeds, sugar, edibles, materials, many kinds of products in space, underground, and other places not on the surface. Civilization may have to move underground if the surface winds up toxic and uninhabitable in the future. Then, energy technologies, manufacturing, production, housing, and everything that sustained human society will have to operate underground, in mountains and other places subsurface. You never know, human beings may incorporate photosynthesis genetically to survive independently with only sunlight, water, and soil nutrients. This would be the beginning of ultimate self-generation with little nourishment. Human beings need tons of things to survive and live comfortably. This afflicted nature severely. Indigenous civilizations have been existing in harmony with nature. They've grown more forests for a greater harvest. Some ancient native civilizations have formulated advanced astronomy, math, architecture, pyramids, and even power generation. Pyramids were power sources like in a circuit board, which was the city layout. Every city can be powered by a pyramid energy source and advanced battery system, so civilization can make the leap to extreme natural and harmonic permanence. The natural balance of the planet is out of order. There are many factors affecting the planetary sustenance. The planet may be cooled down at least 2 to 3 degrees to keep the seasonal temperatures, rainfall, blossoming in order. Nothing is more important than the natural balance supporting all life forms. Many habitats, not just forests, in all continents provide livability to countless species. The most resilient and biodiversity-rich habitats must be reproduced as new green eco-cities all across the world, so global warming can be shipped to Mars. Nobody ain't got time for planetary extinctions. Humans are a remarkable species. They deserve to evolve, live happily, and conserve their beautiful home world into eternity. That's why every human being is destined to unite as a super green force, regenerating the Earth civilization into its most ecologically rich and abundant phase. Rapidly growing plant-based productions can support polyculture states that can finally break down and sequester all the greenhouse gases trapped in the atmosphere. Polyculture rainforests can be the model of ecological civilization. Many states across the planet can transmute into polyculture rainforests, including green cities powered by renewables, thus the planetary ecology can achieve utmost growth and expansion. Lots of hydrogen can be produced via artificial photosynthesis. It's still in development, and it may take time for it to become fully efficient to compete with other energy sources. Plants use photosynthesis to produce glucose and sugars. People can conduct photosynthesis artificially to analyze water elements into hydrogen and oxygen, which are both very useful. Hydrogen can be the newest green energy source to fuel cars, airplanes, batteries, and other machinery smoothly. Solar and wind powers are still more efficient than artificial photosynthesis, but this may change soon. Artificial photosynthesis could divide carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into useful elements on a large scale. Greenhouse gas emissions are a very big existential issue. They must be removed from the atmosphere and emissions must be halted. One day, biosynthetic organisms and creatures can be created, and they can carry out tasks and maintain their existence with photosynthesis. Anything can be made through bioengineering. Useful plants should be bioengineered to survive Mars-like environments. Soil can be bioengineered to provide nutrients and habitability in space, in deserted areas, and on Mars. Photosynthesis will always be the most significant process that generates life and nutrient elements. Photosynthesis can be implemented in all industries to turn them into their greenest phase in development. The Earth will always be the most habitable planet for humans, so it has to be protected, and its photosynthetic productions gotta join a symbiotic association with the sectors supplying human society. Photosynthesis is more efficient in polyculture and densely rich regions like tropical rainforests. That's why the largest cities can be remodeled as photosynthetic production rainforests, where myriads of organic products are displayed in greenhouse centers rather than polluting and carbon-emitting markets. Cities around the world can sequester more carbon dioxide, break down greenhouse gases, and recycle waste increasingly. Forest ecosystems do this all the time. They perfected the natural design with utter recycling and purification. Green energy can build new green cities all over the world that expand as natural, sustainable rainforests, reversing climate change and environmental decline. People need more energy than any other organisms, so clean and renewable energies will be able to create new, densely rich ecosystems where people can live in harmony. A lot of things about human society have to change. Almost nothing is sustainable. Everything people do is destroying the planet exponentially. Hopefully, green energy, enterprises, and projects will initiate a new infrastructure for all human beings to live organically productive and restorative. Every region of the planet is still in grave danger. It's not just climate change. Magnetic pole shift probably contributes to climate and environmental changes. Forest cover is diminishing, and forests create rainfall and purify it into streams. That's how most of the large river systems are produced. Everything about human civilization relies on fresh water. Desalination generates a lot of pollution. It's not as sustainable and clean as natural freshwater channels. Water will always be the greatest resource. It has the power to feed new green farms, cities, communities, orchards, and much more. This is basically a water world. Natural water creation is very environmentally beneficial, also carbon negative. It's best to protect freshwater systems and create new ones through proper reforestation and greening. Existent cities and industrial zones may not be as eco-friendly and carbon negative as new green cities powered by renewables only. Energy and electricity will always be the main source of civilization, no matter what year it is. The world population has been growing extremely fast. This distressed the planet severely because natural resources are very fragile, also limited. Industrial consumption and overuse will only deplete the world's natural resources and incite climate cataclysms. The estimate indicates people have been consuming about 1,75 Earth, and there may be nothing left soon. Nothing will ever be completely renewable or sustainable in life unless it's resembling tropical and temperate rainforests. Most of the powerful hurricanes and typhoons have been originated from deserted regions like sub-Sahara and even ocean deserts. This is a way for nature to warn the human population. It's alerting mankind to change. Freshwater reservoirs, streams, farming methods, and all types of forests are as significant as the switch to clean energy. Switching to clean energy alone won't save the world. Some parts of the world are drier every year. After some time there may not be enough water for industrial use. A betterment of humanity is necessary for every nation. People have to unite as one global super green force before more mass extinctions and cataclysms. Perhaps, The age of cataclysms has already begun subtly. There are also many secretive alien forces around the globe integrating into human society clandestinely. Human beings can be a remarkable being if they can actually save their world and maintain their existence in tune with nature. New green cities and eco-villages can be planned with adequate tech because extreme technological emphasis and overuse will only undermine the planet furthermore. Most of the world's population lives near coastal areas. After some time, the sea level will rise by up to 100 feet. People near the large cities of the coasts will have to evacuate to well-established ecological cities supplied only with eco-friendly and renewable resources derived from regenerative productions. Manufacturing countless junk products to grow the economy and make a few individuals extremely wealthy must be restricted. Most of those junk products aren't necessary or useful. There are a few nations that mass manufacture countless junk to ship worldwide, and their pollution levels have been catastrophic. Manufacturing should be regulated and adapt to the needs of the environment and climate change. Global warming isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Net zero goals will never halt catastrophic warming and downfall. Extreme carbon negativity is required to mitigate the negative effects of planetary warming and destruction. Most of the cities may never become carbon negative, so new extremely ecological and sustainable cities must be built as soon as possible. Underground bunkers wouldn't be very agonizing after a while. For that reason, very livable underground city systems interconnected through tunnel systems can be constructed to leave the surface for wildlife. Natural ecosystems are very resilient and regenerative when they're left alone. When people evacuated after catastrophic events, nature reclaimed towns and cities in a few years or so. A carbon-negative and even plant-based civilization may have the chance to become very advanced, resilient, and consolidated to gradually surpass many alien races and organizations that come here with secret agendas. The second coming might be the Green Renaissance movement. Green color refers to the process of photosynthesis that sustains all life on Earth. Chlorophyll is the green substance in plant cells. It's probably the most important part out of any cellular life forms. Photosynthetic productions with great biodiversity can increase the yields and sustainability of any farming, city design, and divergent industries. A lot of people left their tedious jobs to start working on nature and its green growth. Monoculture exhausts the soil, natural fields. Urban farming as a polyculture can create a lot of jobs, resources, and regreen concrete jungles. People thought fast-growing concrete jungles and metropolises were the best places for the economy and business. That's not true. Small and mid-size eco-efficient, nature-friendly cities are better for health, happiness, and businesses. There is no reason to grow cities into massive megalopolises that pollute and devastate the environment increasingly. Happiness levels are lower in congested areas. Housing is outrageous. Small and mid-size naturally balanced cities will be magnificent utopias with eco-friendly growth and expansion. Nature will bloom out of these places richly and diversely, like in tropical rainforests. Self-regeneration can increase at every zone via the introduction of natural solutions and ecological projects. Ecological technologies will emerge to tackle environmental crises. There is nothing better than an ultimately ecological civilization protecting and enriching its home world's environment. Seeds play a big role in enhancing the soil and growing vegetation to stabilize the environment. Forests sprout and grow seasonally, with seeds fallen onto the forest floor and pollen transmitted in the air. Seeds collected from the richest rainforests where there are tons of exotic, fruitful trees and plants can reshape urban and suburban areas, transforming them into prolific ecosystems. Life isn't about work, it's about nature. Technologies will always be the tools to get things done. Technology can't ever replace everything and every aspect of human society. Green technologies are the newly emerging breakthroughs powered by clean and renewable energies. They will adorn and operate city structures to boost sustainability and eco-efficiency. Human civilization can become one of the most advanced and sustainable in the universe. The Earth has the power to revitalize itself if overconsumption and destructive industries are curtailed. It would be easy for people to live harmlessly for the environment if the largest corporations regulate their productions and business plans as emission-free and eco-friendly as possible. Planetary destruction is definitely a man-made phenomenon. A very beautiful and lively world wouldn't harm itself. That's why everything about humans must adapt to climate change and the needs of the global ecosystem. Hopefully, most companies can reverse their emissions, sequester greenhouse gases and utilize pollution as a resource. Landfills contain a tremendous amount of unused resources. A lot of things could be recycled, composted, or reused. Most products are only used a few times, then disposed of to wind up in landfills. The era of work, buy, consume, throw economic system is outdated and harmful for the planet. None of the materials used in most products are renewable. Planting trees is still one of the best things to do for anyone, but trees take a long time to grow, and they wouldn't soak in enough carbon dioxide to remove greenhouse gases. City and economic structures should change to recover the environment. Some cities include buildings resembling vertical forests, yet they still need a lot of watering and maintenance. The switch to clean energy alone won't save the world nor stop climate change. Tons of green movements, innovation, and implementation are imperative to reclaim the only planet humans can live on. New types of clean energies, sustainable technologies, and products will be invented during times of crisis. Crises have boosted innovation in the past, and it's happening again. Microalgae is one of the resources that can be used in so many ways during the green economic era. Some aquatic and soil plants are very versatile, and they can be used to make pretty much anything sustainably. Nothing was sustainable until now. Everything has to readjust to be as sustainable as possible to enrich the environment and use greenhouse gases as a resource. Most of the elements that make up greenhouse gases are very useful, the only thing is to capture them and separate them into main elements. Trees and plants will always be the greatest resource in all industries and businesses. It's better to grow and use various plants for paper, wood, timber, and construction rather than cutting down millions of trees. There is evidence that the Amazon was a man-made food forest cultivated by the indigenous people in the past. Thus, many new rainforests can be cultivated all around the world, integrated into cities, businesses, rural areas. Some tech companies are designing their headquarters, offices, and warehouses as rainforest ecosystems to become carbon negative and environmentally boosted. Tech companies have more power and intellect than many administrations, so the largest tech companies can institute new green cities with moderate tech infrastructure for people to live as sustainably as possible. Random citizens can become eco-friendly with their product, dietary choices, but they can't make the global shift towards ultimate sustainability to thwart climate change and coming cataclysms. There is no time to wait, this is the time to take global action now. Some rainforests used to be indigenous food forests where people lived in harmony with nature. That's why these native communities should be protected to be able to safeguard forests and biodiversity. Most of the indigenous people endure by preserving nature and fortifying the biodiversity surrounding them. The planet has to look as green as possible from space. It's been getting grayer and yellow every year due to desertification, deforestation, and the growth of megacities. The largest cities hoard most of the unsustainable products and squander natural resources unlike anything and any other place. Human beings could be a bee swarm as opposed to devastating locust swarms. Bees are the most significant species on Earth. Every species is extremely important, and they all do something to sustain diverse habitats. Big tech is able to sustainably design, construct carbon-negative and ecological cities embracing the latest eco-friendly technologies and most efficient clean energies. Plant-based innovation and technologies will merge as one ultra-environmental force, constantly re-terraforming the Earth and even other planets in the future. Jupiter may light up as the second sun to generate a lot of energy, thus human civilization can supply all of its energy needs through solar and other renewable means. Jupiter's large moons can become habitable if Jupiter lights up as a mini-sun. There is a lot of work and research being done on nuclear fusion as an artificial sun. This new energy source can power entire cities with no emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions are still very high worldwide. Existent cities and industries may never reach net zero goals because everything people do and make emit variants of greenhouse gases. Some of these gases are so potent in the atmosphere, and they contribute to warming more than carbon dioxide. CO2 is relatively easier to capture and utilize than other gases. There has to be a way to capture greenhouse gases, turn them into useful compounds. Nobody knew global warming endangered by gas emissions would be this calamitous. Perhaps, the era of economic growth stimulated by fossil fuels and gas emissions is coming to an end. There may be many other uses for fossil fuels without burning them as an energy source. Oil companies that have the utmost power and wealth can invest in green innovation planned for planetary regeneration and protection. Every company will adapt to the needs of the environment. Some meat companies cause massive ocean dead zones by dumping pollutants. Meat can be easily replaced with plant-based alternatives now. Plant-based products are getting more affordable and their production lines are growing very fast. Mock meat will be one of the biggest industries in a short time. People need energy from food to endure. Plant-based nutrition is way more sustainable and healthy. Anything plant-based in food, manufacturing, even construction industries will be more profitable and beneficial for the environment. Almost all plant-based products never cause deforestation and animal cruelty. Make sure it's fully vegan. Not all plant-based products are completely vegan. Pretty much anything can be made plant-based to benefit ecosystems and the planet in general. Plastics that pollute the oceans, landfills, and the globe can be replaced with plant-based, compostable alternatives. There are many plants that can be synthesized as biofuels to reduce gas car emissions. A lot of people are dependent on cars for work and to get around. Eventually, transportation technologies can help people conveniently work on projects to recover the planet in so many ways. It seems like futuristic, emission-free electric cars and plane technologies will incrementally spawn spaceship tech people can use to protect and regreen the planet. Solar energy can propel high-tech spaceships powered by solar bioreactors and solar nuclear reactors. There is never any end to innovation when it's incited by clean, free energies, also plant productions. There is a new material called nanoclay able to enhance any type of sand and dry ground into fertile soil. Nanoclay can be used anywhere and over any type of terrain. This breakthrough compound can assist colonization of space and other planets. Domed colonies, underground structures can be fertile and livable with the help of soil regeneration by nanoclay. Some companies are working on growing furniture, bricks, entire buildings out of types of fungi. Fungi have been evolving for billions of years. It grows anywhere, out of anything. Some of these ancient organisms are more evolved than anything out there. Plant life has been subsisting and evolving for billions of years as well. That's why all life relies on plants to survive. Many new inventions can be based on the diversity of flora. Seed vaults and banks will be crucial to rebuilding civilization if global warming and cataclysmic events ruin the entire globe. Most of the seeds are edibles for humans as well as all other creatures as nutritious food sources. A diversity of seeds can build up new food forests, gardens, plantations, and farms, turning dry lands into productive fields because the rooted plants and trees enliven the ground, retain water, and suit life. There are people who worked in tech and other fields successfully to quit and start farming, landscaping and homesteading, etc. There is always a call to go back to nature. Embracing nature as a work field is one of the best things to do in life. It can save animals and the environment in need of help. Most of the technologies can be plant-based soon. Technologies, human society, and nature will merge as one super green force in the universe. Don't ever underestimate the power of nature. It wiped out the largest ancient empires because they were destructive. Nothing will ever supersede nature's most renewable and life-giving resources and species. Humans have evolved as the most destructive entity over the environment, but this can change. Plant protein is better for human beings than animals. Primates are fruitarians and herbivores. Humans have evolved from primates. Plant protein products have been thriving in the global market. People need more than 20 to 30 grams of protein daily. There is a wide variety of legumes, vegetables, nuts, grains that contain a lot of protein. Plant protein is an extremely profitable business. A lot of entrepreneurs invest in this booming business. Plant products have the power to rebuild the environment through sustainable farming and reforestation. People are concentrated on their protein intake to be healthy and strong throughout the day. Unsustainable and cruel protein foods and products can be replaced with plant alternatives to save the environment and the animals. Plant productions can sequester carbon and nullify carbon emissions worldwide. Wherever there are greenhouse gas emissions, the switch to plant-based agriculture and business systems can turn them into carbon-negative, ecological manufacturers. Plant protein will always be the most profitable and thriving field because people will always need tons of protein to survive and live vigorously. Plant-based is already becoming one of the biggest markets ever existed here on Earth. It will only grow and, hopefully, its production and manufacturing will be designed to sufficiently enrich the biosphere. Anything that contains protein sells the most in any market around the globe. It's best to harvest protein from plants instead of animals. Animal agriculture is extremely cruel and one of the biggest greenhouse gas emitters. Some cities are overblown with meat because people think that's the only way to get their protein. Though, that's totally false. There are tons of plants, seeds, legumes, nuts, grains that contain more protein than meat. The switch to complete plant-based in every industry can create a totally ecological civilization unlike anything in the past. Without this switch, carbon emissions will never be reversed, climate change will continue devastating the earth and society. Eco-efficiency is vital for all nations to evaluate their environmental impact. Cutting out beef could cut land use for agriculture in half and reduce deforestation. Meat and dairy can be easily replaced with plant-based alternatives, so deforestation in the largest and richest rainforests can conclude. Tech is pursuing plant innovation as well. Nobody knew plants could do so much as technologies could achieve. That's why plants and technologies will work together to increase the efficiency and eco-friendliness of industrial manufacturing in all regions. There may be some botanical resources that can supplant metals used in technology. Birds can fly effortlessly and they're biological creatures. Spaceships, cars, buildings, and electronics can be made of biotech in the future without harming the environment, probably improving humans without mind controlling them with AI. AI may be a very big threat, nobody knows who's in charge of it. It may be the malevolent aliens trying to gain control of the human population. Humans are a remarkable species, they're evolving every day. Plant innovation and productions will rectify everyone's livelihood and city structures, eventually regreen the largest cities as carbon-absorbing utopias. Tech is crucial to inform people and uphold innovation in every field. The biggest tech companies can be the most ecological and environmentally friendly to instruct others how to achieve extreme eco-friendliness and sustainability. Some tech offices look like Arboreus spaceships, and these companies endow environmental and net zero goals substantially. The carbon market can be global. Tons of companies are selling their carbon credits for other companies to reach net zero. Carbon credit trading can be as flourishing as blockchain, app, and smartphone markets. That way, the companies and businesses that can't reduce their emissions can purchase credits from carbon-negative businesses and companies that sell their surplus. Seaweed and algae farming and manufacturing can be totally carbon negative and generate carbon credits as a surplus daily. Green hydrogen through electrolysis will be able to power cities and reduce carbon emissions significantly. Green energy is creating a new economic system, unlike in the past. Everything has to become extremely sustainable for the sake of the planet. Climate change may never be halted, yet a sustainable, cooperative, and ecological civilization can overcome any type of cataclysms. There may not be enough for the growing population, so it's better to keep the world population uniform. The planet may not be able to sustain billions of more people as of now. It's nearing 8 billion, perhaps it's already over the limit. The richest rainforests and ecosystems must be preserved in their pristine condition, so they can grow, expand, and sequester more carbon into the forest floor. Although there are many regions and habitats across the planet, most of them can replicate the most biodiverse rainforest networks. Green cities powered by green energy will be interconnected through the grid, electrified transportation, and regenerative businesses. The capitalist economic system has been outstripping the world's finite resources during the last century. After some time, there will be nothing left and the planet will be out of balance to generate more life. Cities are gradually coming to be clean energy farms and tech centers. Tech can be designed to remodel the cities as carbon negative, since carbon negativity indicates utmost environmentally friendliness. The more emission-free a place is, the more its ambience is resilient and robust. Carbon neutrality may never stop climate change, but carbon negative programs may. Totally plant-based cities surrounded by pristine forests, filled with electric cars, may emerge hereafter. In the future, all transportation can be powered by solar energy. New solar panels don't need sunlight all day to generate electricity. There are ways for solar panels to generate energy from thermal, temperature change. Almost anything can generate energy cleanly. Everything is energy and molecular movement can produce electricity with subatomic generators. Organic energy and feed generation will improve every year. That's how nature grows and expands continuously through the process of organic energy procreation. Solar panels and farming are working together to generate greater yield and harvest. That's how eco-villages are becoming a reality. Some of them produce everything they need with little or no emissions compared to industrial towns. Technologies and gadgets can be organically intelligent and self-healing one day as living, breathing creatures that can complete tasks and utilize computing power. Climate can be the catalyst for great change people have been waiting for. The information assimilated changes human beings every day. Climate is changing, the planet is heating up and there will be consequent events prompted by this. The largest rainforests have been stabilizing climate and rainfall potently. They're the most biodiverse and rich regions unique to Earth. Dense vegetation hasn't been detected on other planets yet. Therefore, these magnificent biodepots can be transplanted and erected all over the globe. In order to accomplish this level of brilliance as a civilization, a gradual initiation must be undertaken ecologically and individually. Going vegan, green, plant-based, and working on environmental projects, breakthroughs are the beginning of a new era in human development. Humans haven't been beneficial for the planet they live on except a few. The entire world population has to do the right things, consume, make, work on correct, positive matters to reverse their damage over their beautiful home world. Microorganisms are mutating due to climate and industrial transfiguration. Every organism is getting smarter and tougher during the dawn of a totally new period in human civilization. Innovation is constant, a lot of people are trying to do whatever it takes to tackle climate change and recover the planet. Battery and renewable energy technologies are improving so fast, they may be utilized for space colonization and even terraforming in the future. Life would be tedious without electricity, technology, and electronic devices. Smartphones are doing all kinds of tricks and their batteries may last a longer soon. Current power generation isn't sustainable, it contributes to global warming increasingly. People will need way more energy and resources if the population keeps rising at this rate. The environment can be redesigned and built up to oppose global warming. It all depends on what people do to save the environment and how they undertake predicaments. Apparently, technology won't ever solve all the problems now and in the future. Presumably, nature can solve anything, it's what makes up the Earth's comprehensive biomass and equilibrium. We definitely need more nature to survive and live comfortably rather than more electronics, technologies, and distractions. Nature and its renewable resources are the best biological technologies, they can make pretty much anything humans can only imagine. Life always finds a way, robotic intelligence cannot do much on its own. Nature consists of countless renewable resources that can sustain human civilization if they're utilized properly. Life is about what you do, and that reckons on your knowledge in many fields. Working on one field won't be well suited to deal with planetary problems that may end all life. Everyone will have to study, learn, and engage in many critical projects and subjects. The era of green innovation will never end because nature and all life rely upon photosynthesis, referring to anything biological and green. Everyone and every nation are supposed to downscale their carbon emissions and pollution to a negative phase. Individuals can make a big change. Every company and corporation is still run by individuals. Individual mindset and contribution are as important as corporate activities.